Hello and welcome back, Ragtag crew, to the podcast. Episode 2. Today is the 1st of March, the best month of the year. Because
Definitely.
I was born in it. Um, I know.
Gold.
Same day as Einstein and Justin Bieber. That's the company I keep. Well, actually, same day as Einstein and Steph Curry.
That's better than Justin Bieber, in my opinion.
Thank you.
So for the viewers, who don't know when Einstein's birthday is, when is your birthday?
It is Pi Day 3.14.
Look at that. Look at that. Viewers, donate in the chat. Get this boy a drink.
We'll put up a PO box and you guys just send me pies. Just send me pies for my birthday.
Please make sure that they're stale.
Yes. Key lime. I like key lime pies, cream pies, banana pies, and all cream pies.
If
Okay.
you had to, if you had to pick between apple or pumpkin, where do you land on that spectrum?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, I am a big fan of pumpkin,
Okay.
but if I was to eat a pie at any point in any time of day, I would definitely pick an apple pie.
Definitely picking it. I think apple is like a better dessert pie. I feel like if you want a
Oh,
good
of
sweet
course.
dessert pie, you go apple. But
With
if you're
some
like
whipped
eating
cream.
pie, right, exactly. If you're like eating pie at like 2 p.m., that's when you go for like a pumpkin pie. You're like, all right, this is good for the day.
You're like wake up from a cold sweat and you're like, I need a pumpkin pie.
That's what I'm saying. Wake up from some
uh
cold sweats, Taco Bell pumpkin pie. I don't
Taco
know.
Bell and pumpkin pie. This is a good Thanksgiving. You have Taco Bell and pumpkin pie.
Sounds like Thanksgiving I would attend, to be honest. I mean,
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Today we're gonna talk about kind of like our thoughts on the state of play and some other gaming news for March, as it is the beginning of March, as I said, March 1st. And just kind of give you a rundown, and then some sports news, at least around our area. And then branching out a little bit, um, important topics.
definitely.
So I'll kind of get into the state of play. And like I've listened to some other podcasts and stuff like that, and it was kind of underwhelming. And I know in our last one we had puts these high expectations and hopes,
Very
you
high.
know, you with the old let's bring back the PSP.
You know, I'm I guess in life I'm used to people not listening to me, but that one hurt the most. Okay. A man wants one thing. All right. Bring back the PSP. Sony, you didn't listen. From me to you,
Oof, oof,
hurt. Hurt.
hurt.
Jalen
Um,
hurt.
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I am Jalen Hurts.
Check my birth certificate.
I wish I was Jalen Hurts. That man, uh, not only would, not only had what he's probably like close our age.
At least. And
Yeah,
he's probably made more in the last year than we will in our lifetime. So
yeah, gotten close to the Super Bowl, has all the Philadelphia women swooning over him. I mean, crazy.
I know that's your dream, Josh, but you know, let's get right into the news.
Let's get right into the news. The biggest, I think, the biggest things they really started off with was the 5 PS VR games. Because the next biggest hardware sale for Sony will be the PlayStation VR 2.
Right.
Um, and as we're entering into an age with tons of just like augmented reality and VR, between the Oculus, the new Meta stuff, from Facebook and the Lizard King himself, Zuckerberg. um PlayStation PlayStation is entering with, their second iteration, which is what I've seen from like CES stuff is slimmed down. The controllers I heard are like a lot better. Um,
Okay,
like
nice.
they're a lot more intuitive. The other
Sure,
ones
sure.
were like just like controllers, like the motion control ones where they had like the little ball and like a handle and like a few
Yeah,
buttons.
I've seen them.
And
I mean, I personally don't own a PlayStation VR. I don't know if you
yeah,
do.
I don't either.
I don't know if it's necessarily, I mean, for me at least, it's not the future. I don't see myself buying a VR, even if it gets better. I it's bad enough, like the dust bunnies that are in my house, but you bring cod into my house, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, like, I'm sure they're trying to build it up for like that moment where you can play a first person shooter or Madden or a Silent Hill or Death Space or Left 4 Dead or any like that in a first person, kind of augmented. Obviously, there's a whole lot of other factors that have to go into it with like
Definitely.
moving and stuff like that. But I heard the motion controls are a lot more intuitive, a lot better, and that it's only one cable, like one cord, coming from the
Okay. Okay.
back,
That's conducive. Yeah.
which makes it a lot easier. But they're going to be that's the next biggest hardware sale for them,
Sure.
um, and they're definitely going to try and push some games. The games they put out were the Foglands, Green Hell, uh, and they're all going to have like VR at the end of the name. Excuse me.
Okay. Okay.
Synapses, Journey to Foundation, and Before Your Eyes. I I don't know. They all seem I like I don't have any like real like understanding of each one, but it just seems like they're all like those kind of like seem like they're pretty generic, you know.
Right.
Um Nothing seemed to stand out.
It's like when
Uh,
the PS4 first came out and like the only two games were like Madden 25 and FIFA 13 or 14. And then they were like, more games coming soon. But I think it took like a year to build up the lineup. And I'm sure for VR, it's even more difficult between like the boundaries of VR and then like, I don't know, what do you think PlayStation's target audience with VR is? Do you think they're targeting the younger generation or do you think they're targeting, that middle-aged, like maybe, middle-aged, like 20 to 40-year-olds? Like, where do you
yeah.
think they're trying to land? Because I feel like if you try to target the whole demographic, you're going to do a lot worse. Whereas if like they hone in, because personally, I don't think a lot of 20-year-olds are going out there and playing VR. Now, I could be wrong, but I feel like if I was Sony, I would gear it towards the kids. Like my nephew has a PlayStation VR, plays it all the time, loves it. He does like this little
Okay.
lip curl thing when he's playing it, like when he's like shooting. I know they do have some shooters because he'll be like,
Yeah.
he took it to the beach with us a couple years ago, and he was like in the kitchen, like I was like,
Oh,
hey,
okay.
take it easy, man.
Oh man, take it easy.
Right. Exactly. So if you're Sony, what do you target?
That's a good question. I think you're right in that sense. I like you should target the younger demographic. Like if you look at the Connect for the Xbox,
Right.
it was their biggest hardware sale because it was, like a motion control camera that just took in everything, and that was I know I mean, besides the fact that they just kind of pushed it with every single unit they had, but some people use it more often than not, I think sometimes. And obviously that was very early days, and it
Sure.
was more,
Yeah.
camera motion control versus like the whole VR head setup. But I would definitely say that it should be marketed probably towards like the kid to teen range
I would agree with that.
because
Yeah.
and I understand like they're probably gonna trying to make like some mature like thought inducing like VR games with like an experience because it is a
Right.
in some sense an experience because everything's like right there. And I'm sure that's
Sure.
probably what they might want to do, especially if they have like these indie games.
Right.
Um, but I think what they should do is pump out like a few of like their like franchise series to get
Definitely.
some notoriety towards it, and then some money into it so they can pump out
Do you
better indie
think
games.
do you think that like it would be one of those like generational games that I think would get people re-involved? Plus, I feel like it's just so nostalgic it would pull people. Imagine
Mhm.
and I wonder if this is on the table, like a Rock Band or Guitar Hero-esque VR game. Like if
Oh
you could play the drums like in VR, like or something. I'm genuinely shocked that's like not a thing. I feel like
yeah, I
VR,
agree.
one of their strong points would be like to give you like a music studio and just let people go nuts, like
Yeah, you're on the
play.
stage.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm sure there's something out there, but it would be preposterous if there wasn't. But I feel like if you brought Rock Band or Guitar Hero into VR, that's when I'd
Yeah.
be like, all right, maybe, you know.
I guess my only thing is it depends on who has the rights. And I
True.
could be wrong. I think Activision holds the rights to I think Rock Band. It's either Rock Band or Guitar Hero. I don't
It's one of
remember
the
which
two I
one.
think they own. Yeah,
Yeah, it's one of the two. And obviously, I don't think the deal's technically gone down yet, but I think it's going to
right.
happen, is the Microsoft buying Activision,
True.
um, which is, it's going to leave it into Xbox's hands,
Yeah.
which could be a good thing, a bad thing. I'm not saying it's terrible, but I totally agree. I think that should be um a thing. Like, I
100%.
imagine, you're Sting and you're playing with the rest of uh Guns N' Roses,
100%.
you're in the band and you're like, like wailing away. You look over and you're like, Axel, you're like, whoa.
Like sick, dude. Like he just flings out that long tongue of his that's like slithered. Like, dude, I didn't know snakes existed in this game. Holy crap.
Oh yeah, you see Gene Simmons and stuff like that. You remember Kiss?
You turn around, Ozzy Osbourne's like peeking over your shoulder. You're like, hey, hey.
This is a crazy train, man. No, I totally agree. That'd be a great experience for VR. Sony, hit us up. Um,
Do it.
do it. Um, moving on from VR, the monthly games for PlayStation. Because we know we love free games.
You love free games.
We love free games. And one of the free games that we wish we could take back, I would have $70. And to be honest, I probably didn't buy it. I think I had my dad get it for me for Christmas. So
Mr. Keller coming in clutch.
that's right.
I
Shout
think I
out.
bought mine from Walmart when it was on sale. I think it ran like 45, maybe $55. But
Okay.
either way, it's still, this is me. This is the free games, like thanks, Sony.
Just
Um,
dropping the soap, man.
I feel like if you already own a game that they then release as a free game, PlayStation should give you a $10 store credit. $10 isn't
Mm,
outrageous.
not an
And
outrageous.
then it's also a ploy from PlayStation because if you give me $10, probably going to spend 20. So, like if
Mm.
it could easily turn into a backwards marketing scheme. Easily.
No, I agree. And at that point, if you buy enough games and then it builds up credit, you can maybe get another game for free.
And
Yeah.
it would drive people because same kind of thing, like maybe you only get the $10 if you're a PlayStation Plus member, and if you
Yeah.
ever let your PlayStation Plus expire, that money disappears and you can't get it back. So like they could tie it into their, like my PlayStation Plus expired. I always turn off auto renew because who likes random bills hitting their account when they don't know.
Of
So I always
course.
turn off
When
my
that
auto renew.
OnlyFans hits.
Ex- you know,
I'm kidding, guys. I don't pay for that. uh,
no, it's I turn off the auto renew and then I got online and it was like your PlayStation Plus is expired. And I was like, I swear I just bought that. I swear I just bought that.
Well,
I
and
remember. God,
I was gonna say, well, Nintendo, the Nintendo store, when you buy a game, they give you credit, like coins, and it builds
yes,
up, and you can, yeah. I don't know why they don't do that.
that's true. That's true. I do remember though, and on episode one, a good buddy of ours had noted a couple of times that we were kind of shitting on PC gamers.
Yeah.
Thanks, Zach. So I just want to note too, for the longest time, our leg to stand on as PlayStation gamers was we're the only free to play service out there. Like
That's true.
Xbox you had to pay for, PC like everybody was like playing on Steam and stuff, and like in the console world it was like PlayStation. You don't gotta That was like PlayStation's edge over Xbox.
It
Everybody was
was.
like, but backside, Xbox had party chat back then, which obviously is the single-handed greatest invention of all time. So speaking of party chat, the biggest thing they left out of this event, and this they tease it, they tease it, they tease it, they tease it. Where is it, Josh? Where
It's
is Discord?
I don't know. It should be here soon. I remember they posted and I sent it, in our group chat, the old long sword being drawn out, waiting for uh uh Discord to be announced, and they didn't announce it then, which I find a bit shocking. At least like maybe tease it a little bit or like give a date, you know. Instead they gave us PS5 VR games and uh a few other shit.
That's true. It's true. Disappointing.
Yeah. And the game we were talking about before was Battlefield 2042.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
True.
I know we danced around it. We didn't want to say it because it burned us so bad.
Honestly, I'm third degree over here, man.
I know. And it sucks being a Battlefield fan. It was an interesting concept for the game, and I did play it for some extent of time, but I lost interest. I haven't played it in a while, and now it's free. Uh,
Definitely. I think a lot of people lost interest because Activision kind of fixed their shit. So I think if you look at the
yeah,
game, like Modern Warfare 2 being Modern Warfare 2 kind of pushed the base. I feel like the bases just kind of run back and forth. And like when World War II was out and Battlefield was out at the same time, I feel like people flocked to Battlefield, which obviously had
yeah.
its flaws. So then it was like picking between two dog piles.
No, yeah,
And
agreed.
like when Modern Warfare 2 came out, it was like it took everybody from that Battlefield camp and just kind of like set them over. So I feel like Battlefield had a moment to capitalize, but then I also feel like Activision made the smart play, because if they had released a game like Advanced Warfare or Ghost, I think you would see a bigger fan base over on Battlefield.
I agree. I think it had uh probably more solid base than what was out. If it was, yeah, like you said, a an advanced warfare or anything like that. Yeah, the what was it, Vanguard had a better, base, I think, than
Right.
Battlefield 2042. Um, some other games that are coming out, Minecraft Dungeons, for you're free. So anyone who doesn't have Minecraft, pick it up. I personally, I've never really been into Minecraft. Um, and not that I don't like it, and not that I won't play it,
Right.
but I know back in high school when I would like, we had one lunch which we would like go around. It would allow us to walk around the school at lunch and just carry around our lunch and pick a room to eat. And a lot of times, um, didn't really have a place to go. I mean, we'd have like one place all the guys would meet.
Right. Right.
Um, uh, but oh, funny story. Uh,
Tell
funny
me.
story alert. Funny story alert.
Edit that. Clip that. Clip that.
There was one time, uh so our school is set up, you come in and then there's like three floors technically. You come in on the second floor, there's the
Okay.
bottom floor, which is the basement, and then one more top floor.
Okay.
you
Okay.
you come into the school and you keep walking, and then there's a railing. and then there's like like an open area, and then there's a skylight, so you could be on the bottom floor and see all the way to the top floor. Um,
That's
yeah,
kind of crazy.
yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's like in the middle or like in the middle of the school. So like if you were to like come out of one of the classes and then walk to the middle of the school, you could look up and you could see the skylight, and then you could see all the railings, the two railings, all the way to like the third floor.
Right, right, okay.
And so the one spot, and like, we picked a spot like when we are like freshmen, and um uh so basically it's on the bottom floor, and it's just like in the middle of that area where the skylight was. So they
Right,
just set up tables and stuff like that. So if you didn't, if you wanted to, you could just sit out there, and technically I could see everyone just people watch and whatever.
right,
Um
right.
yeah, but you're out in the middle. One time, I got there early, and the tables weren't pulled out. The custodians didn't pull out the tables. I don't know why. Um,
Custodians.
I know. They just clean up our shit after us.
I know, I know.
The table wasn't pulled out, so I had set down my stuff, and then I tried to open up the table by myself. But in doing that, I flipped the whole table. And at this point, I got my food, and like everyone, like this, like the bell had just rung, and everyone's walking. There's tons of people walking around. I try to open it, it flips and just big old smack.
Oh no.
It was so loud, everyone stopped and just looked over. I just grabbed my stuff, picked up my food, and just walked away.
Your food made the fall? It didn't get
Oh,
ruined?
well, so it like the table's like this. So like
Okay.
normal, yeah. So it's like this. So when it's like stood up, it's like this, and like it has like the wheelie legs.
Right.
So it's like this. So I'm like trying to open it
Right.
like this, but as I'm trying to open it, it tips over and then just smacks into the ground, and then it just goes. Everyone just stops and looks at me. I'm like, oh, and then I go over, grab my stuff, and then grab my food, and I just walk away. And then
Oh my
as my
God.
it was
I love it.
it was kind of embarrassing, but it was funny.
No, of
And
course,
I,
of course.
oh yeah, and I'm going up the stairs. All the years of the guys come down. I said, no, don't sit there. I just caused a scene.
Listen, me, table, didn't get along. Not a good time. Not a good time.
Yeah, because like you had like all the teachers and the custodians like coming over. And I was like, I'm gonna get out.
They're like, who's out here flipping tables? You're like
Yeah.
running away in an Eagles
Yeah.
jersey. Meanwhile, some guy with a Bills jersey is like trying to jump on it.
Pry
Get
it
me on this
open.
table.
Yeah, that's
No,
my
I think like looking back at like high school, it is so wild to like to think about. I don't know. Like I look back at my high school memories and like, you had the ones that stick with you forever, like, like the and like
yeah.
like you have that, you have like, I don't know, just like the locker camaraderie, the
Oh,
sports, all that kind of stuff. It's just crazy to think about. And like, so if you had a chance to go back to high school,
mm.
would you do it? Were the high school years kind to you, or would you run far away?
I maybe I would just, and just to change my future. Okay.
You're really on the downward spiral. We could have
Oh.
turned way back when.
Well, there's one thing I do regret, and it's so in high school I played lacrosse, and I was pretty good. Yeah, lax
Right, right,
bro.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got the flow, brother.
you do, you do. You got the
Yeah.
curl. I mean, it looks like you went a little. I don't know if I'm saying this guy wrong. It might be the wrong actor, but a little bit of a like a Christian Bale slick back right now.
Oh yeah, I'm Patrick Bateman right now.
Patrick Bateman.
Yeah, he's like, from American Psycho.
I'm Rashad Bateman, so
You
minus
fast.
the receiving skills.
Yeah. You're just like missing balls.
Right,
Um,
right, exactly.
but I played lacrosse all my life, and I got pretty serious about it. well, I started in like seventh grade, and then in high school, and then to be better, I did summer ball for like
Right.
three
Okay.
years, which in turn leads you to be looked at by colleges, stuff like that. Um, and I even remember, and I totally forgot about this, and I remembered it like a few times. Like I got like invitations to like play overseas and stuff. I just never took them. Like
Oh,
I could
damn.
play with like a young team USA against like Ireland and stuff like that.
Could you imagine being like ripping twine with Paul Rabel right now?
I oh my God. I
Not
went
being
to
stuck on a podcast with the loan officer, like,
I know I could be having a podcast with Paul Rabel right now.
oh,
That man owns a league.
he probably owns half of Johns Hopkins. I mean, I don't
He
know.
should. He should. Um, yeah, so I got pretty serious about it, and at the end of my high school, I did get a D2 offer from a
Oh
school.
shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
Tusculum, if anyone's heard of
Tusculum.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's out in Greenville, Tennessee. It's like it's 5 hours from me. Uh, so probably roughly the same, but for
Yeah, but
you, but
no Salisbury cookout.
I know. Well, there was a
I think they're a
Zaxby's.
southern restaurant, right? Oh,
Yeah,
Zach.
yeah,
It
yeah.
actually came up at work today. I talked to a guy about the cookout, and we were talking about like restaurants and stuff, and like expectations versus reality. And he
Yes.
was saying that that cookout is very worth it. Um,
Oh, I 100% agree.
so you get this offer, but excuse me, is this like one of those situations? So just like you, I played lacrosse and football in high school. I got a D2 scholarship to play football at Kutztown University, which is also a D2 school. It's in
Kutztown.
PA.
Mm.
Yeah. And so, the coach comes in and he's like, we want to offer you a scholarship. And, like when you're in high school, you're like, yeah, you do.
Yeah,
and,
you're on
and
top of the world.
literally, head was blown up, like feeling great. And then he was like, we want to give you $5,000 a year to play football for our program. And I'm like, like what is Kutztown's tuition?
Yeah.
And it was like out of state was like I swear, I could be misquoting this, but it was like 30 grand. And I was like,
Oh
Papa,
yeah.
that's still 25 grand a year. That is not gonna cut the bacon. All right. Like, but looking back, like I think I regret, even though I wouldn't have gone to Kutztown anyway. I definitely regret like not going to when I went to college. I sold all my lacrosse goalie gear. I sold it all to play it against
Oh
sports.
yeah.
Um, like I kept like a one attacker stick because before I was a goalie, I was an attacker.
Hey
Um,
yo.
Ayo. Um,
I play defense. I didn't play attack. So.
oh, we had the long pole.
That's
Long
right.
pole. All
Yeah,
right,
I'm
all
a,
right.
I'm a 6 foot sticker.
I there you go. Listen, I don't know if he's watching, but if Connor Watzkowitz is watching, that man was a great lacrosse player on our team, and dude could rustigate the shit out of some people.
Oh,
Uh,
I've only got one successful rusty gate in my life.
oh, dude, it's so clean when it happens. It's so
It's so
clean.
clean.
But that's my biggest regret when I got to Towson was not playing club lacrosse. Totally
Yeah.
could have. I had a bunch of guys from North Carroll that went to play club lacrosse, but I totally agree. Like the way we just like let sports go.
Yeah.
I do actively play in a softball league with a realtor that I work with,
Nice.
Team Bumpy, and I I'm not great. Like hitting, I'm like when in batting practice, I'm killing that ball and it's slow pitch. So like it's not like these guys are like beaming it. It's it's coming at you at a nice speed. You would think that you could like destroy it. And there are
Yeah.
some people that do. I'm a single hitter. I think overall I'm like probably like 20 for 25 at the plate, but they're all
Okay.
singles.
They're all
Like and
singles.
so, I don't know. We got to work on the game, but not to cut you off. So you get this offer
Oh yeah.
from this school in Tennessee for
Yeah.
lacrosse. Did you give it any thought, or was like an immediate no?
No, I gave it some thought. And there's a lot of different factors that went into it. So that my senior year, in the fall, I had fractured my ankle.
Okay.
So I played so and that funny enough, that was on Halloween.
Wow.
I
Fractured
know.
ankle on Halloween?
Yeah.
Spooky, scary skeletons.
Spooky. Yeah. Enough to break my own bones. Uh I really monster mashed my leg up. Um
You tell one more Halloween joke, I'm gonna have to end the episode right here. No.
uh I can't think of one right now.
Yeah,
If one
right.
pops up. Um, but yeah, I fractured my ankle on Halloween, and so I couldn't finish the rest of like the fall ball. And then for 6 months, was it was so with fractures, you don't need a cast. You just get it's like one of those boots, and you pump it up with air,
Right.
stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
But I
yeah,
had
yeah.
to,
The gray ones, right?
yeah, gray or black.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
a bunch of people with those, yeah. But that's
yeah.
disappointing. That's disappointing.
Yeah. Well, the thing was, so it didn't technically affect me being able to play. It just affected me in the sense that the senior year, before the regular season, played fall ball. Um, One thing I did miss out on was winter ball, which is like indoor lacrosse, which
Right.
is fun as all can be, because you get to slam people. You play with short sticks, stuff like that. It's like
Sure.
hockey, but
Right. Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
lacrosse. Um, but anyway, so I didn't get to play that, but I had to do uh p like rehab or physical therapy for my
Oh yeah, yeah,
ankle
yeah. Yep.
and stuff like that. And I got to a good spot, and I was good for the season. And then, going into I have like this opportunity to play D2 lacrosse, and I'm
Definitely,
thinking to
yeah.
myself, and this guy's like, from seeing me and stuff like this, oh, we love your footwork and stuff like that. And, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, I appreciate, in my head, I'm like, I appreciate that. But I was like, I don't know if with my ankle, like how this is going to affect me.
So you were
And,
mistrusting of your body when it came to that.
yeah, I kind of was,
Are you injury
because
prone or was this like your first big injury?
my first big injury, but I don't know. I guess I've always and also I only played football for 1 year, but one thing I think they really misdiagnosed me on. I don't know. Maybe they didn't. I was the linebacker.
Okay.
And yeah. And I went to go tackle the quarterback because he ran out the pocket and was going up the sideline. And as I run behind him, I get him.
Get him. Get
I
some
get him.
money.
I basically just like honey badger this guy. I just jump on top of his back. And then my knee hits the back of his shoulder pads. And
Oh,
it was so bad. My leg was so numb. And I just didn't know how to like tell people like I need to sit down. So I just kept playing with my numb leg. And
what?
yeah, it was bad. Like I could walk on it, but it was like just numb. And then I was like, oh, maybe it'll be fine tomorrow, blah blah blah. And then for a month, my knee was just hurting me going up and down the steps, like in,
I
in
can't
school.
imagine.
It was so bad. And then I told my dad, and he's like, all right, well, let's go to get checked. And they checked it. And it's like, oh yeah, your growth plates are just clocking out. I'm like, what?
Clocking out.
Yeah,
What?
like
Get back to work. Like,
they like say basic like I was like I got this injury, or like this feeling, from this, and then they're like, nope, you're just not growing anymore, and that's why you have this pain. What?
you're just not growing anymore. Like the doctor's about to like be like, let me just whip up some miracle grow here. All right, buddy. 2 weeks, twice a day. Like,
Twice a day.
okay, there's a lot to digest here. So we've had a fractured ankle,
Yeah.
we have a numb knee,
Oh yeah.
which just sounds like a joke. Like somebody's like, like, look at me with my numb knee. Like it's
Minamni.
it sounds like a really good candy bar. Like
Oh.
producing numb knees. Like we had a kid on our high school football team and he did the whole thing where like his knee would just like pop out of socket at any point. So like he had to wear two knee braces and like literally it would pop out and they would just like and then he would pop it back in, and then he couldn't play for like a couple days to let it like recover. But like, just like the people who can like do all that stuff with
Oh
their,
yeah, double jointed.
oh god,
Couldn't be me.
couldn't be me. I can't roll my R's. I'm not double jointed. I'm really as basic as they come. Like,
I am a generic man.
you could like put me in a Walmart. Whereas like, some people deserve
The
to be in like
greeter.
a Kohl's or a Target, but like
Yeah.
I just came out of a Walmart. I'm a great value.
Great value gummies.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, dude. So for our viewers, and I think I've told you this before, but my football story, like I got a concussion from a punt. That's right, you heard it here, for a punt. Kicker kicked it, hit me in the soft spot of my head in high school, and I got a full-blown concussion from it. So,
This is a big
you
old
know,
baby.
dude, gentle giant. So, okay, so we've got the fractured ankle, we've got the numb knees, great candy bar. Um,
Yeah.
we've got the numb knees. So now, is this all in the same year? This fractured?
No. So the
Okay.
knee thing was freshman year. The ankle was senior year.
Okay.
Um. So like I had like I guess the whole knee thing. I felt like and I like to this day like I still feel like I have some knee problems. Like it's not like it's overbearing, but I do feel like some like lagginess to my knees.
Okay. So
So
you feel like it still affects you to this day.
yeah, yeah, in some sense because I don't feel like my knees are as um flexible as they should be or as extended as they could.
Right.
um
Right.
and then the ankle thing was a more recent thing towards going into college, and it was a mixture of that and then the fact that it was like 5 hours away. And then also it was a excuse me, a very small school.
Okay. Okay.
Everyone lived on campus.
Right.
Like literally everyone, and it was in the middle of nowhere. um and they didn't have, and what I wanted to go into learning was computer science. They didn't even have a computer science program. They were still building the building for it before I got there.
Yeah, that can be a real
Yeah.
decider.
So
Definitely.
there's a few of those things, but their indoor stadium was nice, and I went there and took a tour, and I stayed the night with one of the like lacrosse guys,
There you
stuff like
go.
that. So it was good, and then Saturday, I had to wake up early for like their practice and stuff like that, and I got to see them practice. But I saw some. It was funny. I saw these guys running like they do laps because they got a bad grade, and they also kept like high standards. Is like, oh god, if I fell
Oh
before like,
my
I know.
God. No, and not to interrupt you here, but Zoom is going to give us a nice little kick here. So we
Yeah,
will come back after this break for you guys. So stay tuned. We got a little bit more to cover here. So far so good. Don't go anywhere. We got some numb knees, and we'll talk to you in a
yeah.
second.
Talk to you in a second. Grab a snack and a drink. We'll be right
There
back.
you go. All right, guys, welcome back. Hopefully you have a drink, a good snack. I know for me, when I watch YouTube videos, I always need a good snack. And I mean, um, anyway, um, one of the big things I want to touch on real quick before we get right into it. Speaking of drinks, if you're looking for a drink and you're looking to buy a home, don't forget that your boy's a loan officer. March 21st from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Looney's Pub in Perry Hall. Going to be hosting a little home buyer happy hour. So come out, have a drink. It's around St. Patrick's Day. Get
We
lucky,
love St.
buy a
Patrick's
home.
Day.
We love St. Patrick's Day. We're trying to get the little Lucky Charm guy to come. He's a little bit tough. His
Ooh,
PR guy is,
yeah.
it's a tough pull. But if you're looking to buy a home, Let's do it, man. So before we went on break, we're getting the lowdown details of what could have been the next Paul Rabel, with Josh here, turning down a D2 offer in Tennessee. So,
That's right.
what was the, you had mentioned before, it was a smaller campus. It was,
Hmm.
not necessarily the right feel for you. So then, was the money good? Like, what was driving you towards it, and ultimately what made your decision final?
Yeah, and this is the thing, with the money part. Looking at it, it should have made it easier, and it made it harder in just what I wanted to do. But they offered me 35,000.
35 a year.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
And what's their tuition?
Was I think it was either that or like 38 or something like that. So
So you'd have
I
been
was,
paying next to nothing.
yeah, I
Granted,
was basically covered.
right, but granted, it just wouldn't have been in the major that you wanted. So you would have had to
Yeah.
have like cut there, but I mean, it was a free education potentially.
Oh yeah. And who's to say it couldn't have, gone down because, like the next season or whatever. But, at least for that year or semester or whatever, I would have been covered.
Right.
Um, and that's the nice thing about D2 schools, or D1 especially, more so.
Definitely.
They will cover you. Um, and it was like the indoor field was very nice. They said it was the second, or it was the best D2, I mean indoor turf field in D2.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a nice field, and everything like that. And the coach is pretty nice. All the guys seem, uh pretty nice. It's just a few of those factors, and trying to make a decision where to
Sure.
go. Like I said, it was kind of the middle of nowhere. It's 5 hours. It was either between that or stay in Maryland, um, where I ended up going to
Listen, Josh, you're
Salisbury.
the only 10 I see. So, it's a tough decision.
Honestly, if
I
the coach would have hit me with that, it was a done deal.
that's you're in high school, the head's already big. You get to it and they're like, listen, man, you're the only 10 I see. You're like, where do I sign? Where do I sign?
Where do I sign?
Like,
35? Oh yeah.
easy. Get some money. Like, okay, so I toured Virginia Tech's campus. We went to a lacrosse camp
Ooh.
at Virginia Tech. I got to stay at Virginia Tech for a couple days. I got to play in a tournament at Virginia Tech. I never got officially offered a scholarship for lacrosse. Wah, wah, wah. But it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. Lacrosse has a soft spot in my heart.
How many years did you play?
I played I think I played 3 years in high school. So
Okay.
the first year I played as an attacker. And then
Hot.
my school was really small, so they were like, we need goalies. So my junior year
Yeah.
I transferred to goalie, never looked back. My idol, be Holtby forever. But it was fun. I feel like being a goalie was fun. And my coach, our head coach before he became our head coach, was a goalie coach for many years.
Oh, that's
So I
great.
had I had a really good relationship with him. And just like learning the mechanics of like when the ball is like, so in lacrosse, if it's stick side and somebody shoots here and your net's up here, like the whole motion of like going under like that. I mean, like you would never think
It's so
that's how
difficult.
it took a while. And like you learn about cutting down angles and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, it was a lot of fun though. I miss lacrosse. I wish I could go back and play more and just cherish it more.
Yeah, I'm in that mode as well. And I've kind of been in that mode, definitely
Right.
missing it. Um, I mean, there's been times where I've been at, late at night in my bed, like 2, 3 in the morning, where I'm just looking up, can I be a professional lacrosse player? Uh,
Right. Like after you get off a WebMD and find out that you're not pregnant, it's like the first thing that you get onto is like those late night Google searches. They hit hard, bro.
They
I
do.
feel like some of the most productive human time is done between 2 and 3 a.m. on Google. Like eh, the anxiety hits hard, the nostalgia hits hard.
Oh yeah.
It's just a tough thing to work through.
It is. It really is. And especially because I dedicated, a good bit of my life to it, stuff like that. Got my brother into it. My brother also played goalie.
Okay,
Yeah. I
there you go,
honestly think my brother could have been the best goalie ever, not to hype him up too much. Um,
dude.
but
I know of a
he
school in Tennessee already offered the Kellers some money, you know?
he
So
probably could have. There were in like the email, like there was so many email offers from like coaches I would see like in his email for like, oh, I always saw your tape. You should come play for us. Stuff like that.
dude, speaking of which, like back at our time, I think the 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 service that we used was called Huddle.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was like the big thing is like you would try to get like your athletic director or your coach to make you a huddle clip and like send it to you so you could send it to coaches. Nowadays, you've got high schoolers making like professional graphics
Oh,
and
I know.
they're like I have announced my commitment to this D3
Yeah,
school. And you're like easy Tiger, easy.
I
Like
know. There's like people in like eighth grade, like I verbally committed to Duke. I'm like, what the heck? You still got like
meanwhile,
5 years, buddy.
meanwhile Duke's like who? Like,
You said what? To
right,
who?
right. So that leads me to a funny story.
Ooh, look,
So
funny
the,
story alert, funny
so
story
yeah,
alert.
funny story alert. In high school, we had the same guy that actually can nail the rusty gates.
Ooh, we love that guy.
He also was on the football team, and he chewed. So in high school,
Ah,
obviously, if you get caught chewing, you get in a ton of trouble. But we were in Carroll
and for all
County,
the kids, we're talking about your tongue.
right? So he chewed, and there was a game that we lost in football, and we lost it like in the last quarter, and our coach, like the post game, was like, you guys didn't give it your all. Damn, I'm out here breaking stuff. um
Hitting the
so
rusty gate on your desk.
honestly, so like he's like, you guys didn't give it your all, he's like you guys, there's a couple people on this field that worked really hard and there's a little but didn't. So like our coach is giving us a speech and we get onto the bus and this kid puts in a fat lip. Well, we we hit a bump, the kid swallows the lip.
That has to be terrible.
Swallows the lip. Needless
No.
to say, the kid runs to the front of the bus, throws up, and our coach, I shit you not, gets up on the bus ride home and is like, "See, this is the kind of determination we need. This guy's out here throwing up, putting his body on the line,
Oh my
giving it his
God.
all." And we're just like all like dead quiet because we know the truth. Like this
Yeah.
this mf'er just swallowed a lip, and now we're getting a speech from our coach about determination. So just one of those things, man. Like high school is so wild when you look at it.
It
It
really
really is.
is.
I don't know.
There's stuff that goes down you didn't think would ever go down.
I feel like too, like I don't know, like in high school, it was maybe it's just because you see these people every day. I don't know. It's such a weird dynamic. I don't know what it was like in Calvert County. Correct me if I'm wrong. But in Carroll County, like number one, our school closed the year I graduated. So it the dynamic there, it was so interesting. It was like you had the farm kids,
Oh.
you had, which is crazy because before that I went to Smithsburg High School where they
Mhm.
literally had bring your tractor to school day and the parking lot would would just be tractors. So
No
that's
way.
just like the differences between can you imagine like Montgomery or PG County doing like a bring your tractor to school day?
It would be like bring your Lamborghini tractor.
Everyone would bring their little Lamborghinis like
The
after they just bought the Hollywood Hills.
Hollywood Hills.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ty
Oh
Lopez.
man, dude, so good.
Yeah,
So
we had a few. schools like that where we had like, they're like a little more country and stuff like that.
Definitely,
Um,
definitely.
yeah.
All right, so hitting you with some classics here. So speaking of high school, I think this is a good topic. Everybody loves to get nostalgic.
Yes.
I'm gonna hit you with some buzz questions.
Okay.
First thing that comes to mind, you just got to spit it. All right, so high school. Favorite high school cafeteria meal served by the school?
I would have to say, God, it's the Mott sticks, I would say.
Yes, yes. It's just
Yeah.
okay. So they did go viral on TikTok for a while. You could buy like
Yeah.
cases of 300. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. If I didn't have a significant other to hold me responsible, I would 100% have a case of 300 mock sticks in my freezer right now. So shout out to Amanda um, for keeping me responsible and
Keeping
not
you in
letting me.
check.
Josh, we can order these tomorrow, bro.
Yeah. See, I'm
Anyway,
single, so I can buy as many mod sticks,
right, right.
and no one can question me.
Please donate to our podcast, and we will try those mod sticks live on camera.
That's right.
So another question: if you had to choose high school football, or did you play any other sports?
No, I wanted to play golf, but I did not.
Okay, okay. Did you like indoor lacrosse at all?
I did. I didn't get to play it because my ankle is broken, but I would have loved to have done it. I love hitting people.
True, true. What's it
Yeah.
called? What league is it? I don't know what it's called, where like
Oh,
the goalies look like Optimus Prime.
yeah. The NLL, the National
Okay.
Lacrosse League. Yeah, that's the indoor one.
That one looks severe.
That's the one that I would like to try and get into. Um, that one they have like 8 teams, I think,
Okay.
currently, and it's currently going on right now.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Good to know. All
yeah.
right. So, favorite high school subject?
Ooh, history.
History. Did
Yeah.
you have a good history teacher, or you just like the subject?
I had a few different good history teachers. My eighth grade one is definitely my favorite one.
You're smiling a little bit. Is
Yeah,
okay. So
yeah.
let's hear it. Is it the looks, or was the just a like a good bubbly teacher?
All around, all
All
around,
around.
all
Okay.
around, all around.
All around. There you go. All right.
Yeah,
So then give a little ragtag podcast shout out. Who's the teacher that you will never forget?
Miss Sass,
Miss Sess. All
Miss
right, Miss
Sass.
Sess. Welcome to the Ragtag podcast. Joshua Keller here is calling you out, saying that you were the best teacher that he can remember. So
Oh
there
yeah,
you have
and
it.
that was yeah in eighth grade. I also had another good one. Miss Chefs. She was
Miss Chef.
hilarious. Yeah, she was my 10th grade history teacher.
Okay.
Um, she sadly passed away like a couple years after that.
Oh,
Um,
damn.
yeah. Rest in peace to her. But she
Facts.
was great as well.
Yeah, definitely. If Mr. Dodson, if you ever happen to stumble across this podcast in any sort of way, you were amazing. I don't like I just like don't remember many of my teachers' names right now. I'd have to look through a
Really.
yearbook and get nostalgic. Um so finally I have another funny story alert.
Funny story alert. Funny story alert.
um so my last 2 years of high school, I went to a tech school for half of the day, the Carroll County
Oh, that's
Career and Tech
cool.
Center. I got to take like a bunch of engineering AP courses. I actually wanted to be like I wanted to get a civil engineering degree. Um, I have a degree in psych. That tells you how far I've come along. So, and I was getting A's in these courses too. So I
Awesome.
loved these courses. We had an electronics course. I think it was my junior year. This is where things get hilarious. So we literally had like, I'm not even kidding you. So our electronics teacher hands us a bunch of like equipment, and then she goes, I want you guys to be able to complete this, like not just here. I want you to be able to complete it at home too. So she gave us electronic briefcases. I'm not kidding. It's exactly what it sounded like. Like it was a briefcase with electronic pads in it. And we had to make like the top section was like LCD screens, and we had to like wire it to like for like the clock to say our birthday or something like that.
Oh, that's interesting.
So fun, so cool. But like looking back at that, thank shit I didn't get pulled over. Like it would take the cop would be like, "What's in the briefcase?" And
Uh,
I'd be like, "Officer, it's not what you think." And he'd be like, "What's in the briefcase, buddy?" They'd pop it
Cocaine.
open. Yeah, like Carroll County's bomb squad would be there in seconds. Like it would like as a high schooler, you're just so amazed by like the electronics, but that was
Yeah.
sus, bro. Like they were
Probably
setting
so
us
many
up for
wires.
failure. There was literally so there was one project where you had to like I don't even remember what you had to do, but there it took like 80 wires to get it going. And like again, you open up it's just wires everywhere. And then the screen, and like I'm telling you right now, like if the clock
I'm
was
gonna blow.
right, exactly. Like if somebody made their clock like count down or
Yeah.
something like that, like I mean the Carroll County Korean Tech Center's got to rethink that project or put
They,
a disclaimer on the outside of the briefcase that says
yeah.
this is not a
This is
bomb.
not the bomb.
Because genuinely, like, it looks like I'm playing Search and Destroy on COD.
You're just like driving out of the map, like
Right,
way out of the map.
right. No, exactly. Exactly. Um, I do have to tell you too, in my coding class, we had to code a robot
Oh, that's
on its
cool.
screen to like pick up a cube and then move it. Well,
Hmm.
this was all like on your own time. So like we had class projects that we had to do, and then there was like projects you had to do throughout the semester, like during your free time. So with that project, there were so many people at different points. And when you were done, you had to like record a video of it. And then you had to like send in your code to the teacher, and then the teacher would be like, yeah, great job.
Yeah.
Um, so we cheated. We would send each other like the codes. And
Oh, that's
I got
smart.
I got busted actually for cheating in one of the classes. My buddy sends me the code and he sends me the video, and rather than putting in the code and recording my own video, we turned in the same video. So my teacher calls me over and he's like, "Hey Zach, I'm just so amazed that you and a couple of your classmates, you guys have the same eye." He's like, "Look at this video from the same point of view, same time." And like when you're dude, talk about a heart drop.
Oh,
Like
it's
my
so.
throat's in my stomach. I'm like, I'm gonna get expelled."
I know. I
Like
hate it. I hated that feeling.
dude. Okay, so that was, I mean, he was chill about it. He's like, "I'm gonna give you a
That's good.
hundred," but he's like, "Don't cheat again." So like he gave us a free pass. Did have you ever gotten busted cheating in high school, college, etc.?
Good question. I don't know. I wasn't. I'll admit this. I was a pretty good. I was like a goody two shoes, sort of. I tried not to cheat and stuff like that. Not to say that I probably didn't. I probably
Way to
tried.
probably have to be the real bad guy here. No.
No, I'm a real bad boy. I like to throw cigarettes
I
out
played I
of
played
cars.
Spider-Man Miles Morales, so like
I'm a real bad boy. Like when I see dip, I sniff the can, just to get the high.
little contact, you know.
But there was one time. There's one time I do remember where I got in trouble. This was fourth grade, fifth grade, or one of those days. And I was out on the playground, and someone said ass and or something like that, and then I said it, or I called someone a
And you
bitch.
got busted.
Yeah, and I called someone a bitch, and then he goes over, gets the teacher, and he's like, "I heard someone said, blah blah blah," and I was like, "I don't know who." Like I was like I don't know who
You
you're
said
talking about. And then it's like, well, he said you said it. Is it? Oh, he's fucking lying.
you just start ripping the curse words at that point because you're already down deep, you know,
Yeah.
like sixth grade Josh at this point is like, no fucking way. Like
fuck he says. He's fucking lying. What the fuck he doing?
Right, exactly. You're just ripping
Yeah.
it out at this point.
No, but and then I got caught, and then I had to move my card that day.
Ah,
Uh,
yes, yes, the
yes.
classic, green to yellow, or did they take you
Oh
straight to
yeah.
red?
I think yellow. I don't think it went straight to red. I think red is like you go to the office and you get your parents
Right.
called.
So
Um.
I have one disciplinary action against me in my entire schooling career.
Oh.
And similar to yours,
Mm-hmm.
there was a fight. It was like seventh grade. There was a fight going on
Mm-hmm.
in the cafeteria. Typical middle school boys. We were like,
Typical.
we're all like up on the table, like fight, 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 fight. Dude, the principal comes over. Mind you, I loved this guy. Loved this guy.
Yeah.
I thought he was a great vice principal. He grabs me and he's like, come with me. Sits me down in his office and he's like, I'm writing you a referral. And mind you, I start bawling.
Yeah, of
I'm like
course.
my mom is gonna kill me. I'm like, what is this even for? And
Don't do it.
he's like, you know what, Zachary, you were instigating a fight. And I was like, what? Like looking back at it, I got a referral for saying fight during a fight. Like,
Oh my
this has
gosh.
got to be the stupidest thing. I
What
I don't
the hell?
know.
That's
Oh my!
stupid. Yeah, like everyone else is doing it too. It's not like, why should he single you out and give
I'm
you a
telling you, man.
referral?
I'm telling you,
Ridiculous.
ridiculous. So let me see here. I'm trying to think too to segue from lacrosse. We talked about lacrosse. We've
Hmm.
I did play some football. So speaking of football, your commanders have made a couple moves.
They have.
Do you want to tell us about that?
I would love to. So the cancer that was Carson Wentz is no longer with us. I see. I never liked the move to begin with. I don't know why we went for him in free agency. Apparently,
Right.
Ron Rivera said it wasn't his choice. I mean, I can see that. Dan
Good
Schneider
old
is
Riverboat Ron.
Riverboat Ron, choo choo. Um, Dan Schneider, of everything, you can, if you heard of him, if you've heard of him, he is a bit, how do I say, controlling and manipulative in some senses.
And
Um,
he's taking this whole, if you take me down, I'm
oh yeah,
taking the NFL with me,
oh
which is
yeah,
really interesting of an approach. And I have heard that some owners are starting to uh liken the idea of kicking him out of the league. And obviously that would be a huge, huge, huge deal. It'd be the first time it's ever been done, I believe. Um,
yeah.
so, like I'm kind of interested. I want them to kick him out. What's the juice that he thinks he has? Like, be
I remember he said he had so much dirt on everyone else.
right.
You know?
And don't get me wrong, there is clearly some dirt in
Oh,
the
of
NFL.
course.
Like to me, some questionable NFL decisions that I look at. And don't get me wrong, Miami came out on the right side of this, but why did you
Oh,
fire Brian Flores?
I don't know.
Like
I don't
looking
know.
back at that, there was no reason to fire Mike Flores or Brian Flores. That man deserved a head coaching job, still
He did.
deserves a head coaching job.
Still does.
And the fact that Mike McDaniel comes in and Mike McDaniel being an okay coach is the only thing that has saved them from being a laughable fan base because
Yeah.
they literally chopped off their head when they were turning their team around. So, and
Yeah.
like it does bring up the conversation of like it is questionable like when it comes to like minority coaches in the in the NFL, like are they getting an honest shot? And it's disappointing to see some evidence that they're not.
Yeah, especially after they got rid of I mean, sure, Texans did not have a great season, but I think they arguably had a better season than the Colts. Um
True,
Towards
true.
the latter half of that season, they got rid of Lovey Smith. you know?
And look at the Jeff Saturday situation. Like
I know.
how does that come
I don't
about?
know.
Now, I'm completely blanking here. I don't know if the did the who did the Colts hire as their head coach? It was
They hired the
from the
OC of
Eagles,
the
right?
Eagles. Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
whatever
okay.
his name
And
is.
then talk about blatant, and say what you will, there's two sides of this argument. But with the Eric Bahimi, so your
Yeah,
new OC, highly sought after offensive coordinator. The Ravens were in on him. I personally wanted the Ravens to select him as their next coordinator. I think he would have been the best fit for us.
yeah,
I'm not disappointed with Todd Mungan, but like when we didn't select him, there was a lot of talk going down that, he's interviewed for so many jobs and he's not getting it. Clearly, it's Andy Reid's team. Clearly, it's Andy
of
Reid's
course.
offense. Clear, like everyone is so quick to associate the success with Andy Reid. And don't get me wrong, Andy Reid is a hell of a coach,
Hell of a
hell of a
coach.
coach. But you don't just throw your coordinator under like that. Like that man put in the work. And I really hope for his sake, I hope he turns the Commanders around. I hope he brings that fire back. The Commanders are their own situation. He's going to have a
Yes,
mess to deal with. But he almost is like forced into going there to prove that his worth, because he's got nowhere, like no one's giving him the head coaching job. So he's got to
agreed.
go to, he's like, okay, if I go to Washington and turn this shit around, I'm owed a head coaching job. But in my opinion, he's already owed a head coaching job. And I think that's another opportunity that for a minority NFL coach that is just slipped by.
I agree. I think I talked about this with someone else, in a perspective that, you know, him going to Washington, which had probably, our running game got better, passing game, probably wasn't really there, even though we tried to in the beginning. But Carson
Right.
Wentz threw too many picks, stuff like that. So this provides him a chance to improve an offensive, like a bottom half offense into an upper half offense. And I think Ron Rivera is already on shaky waters slightly, and that's why he got rid of
Sure.
Scott Turner, and such and such.
Longtime
Um,
buddy of Ron
oh
Rivera.
yeah, they worked
So big
together
decision.
Carolina for a long time. So to get rid of him, I think he like knew that has to be the scapegoat. I said that this leaves an opening for Eric to take his position at some point. Um,
Sure.
like because there at some point there will be new management. Because I've been on the whole like listening to the Dan Schneider watch, basically like he
Right.
wants $6 billion for the Commanders. Obviously it's a good amount of money.
Sure.
And this is to put in perspective. The Denver Broncos, which was sold not too long ago, to their current owner, that went for 4.2 billion. So this is
Okay.
another couple up.
Right.
So this is, more money, and people have estimated even higher. But they want him out, like you said. And to
Sure.
get him out, he wants six. The NFL really likes Jeff Bezos, because of his connection with Thursday Night Football and everything
Sure.
like that.
Sure. Yeah.
Just makes sense. So, I think that's what everyone wants, and that's the most
Sure.
logical move that I think will happen. Now, there's people who have, maybe some doubts that if it doesn't happen, he'll stay, but I think the NFL is really pushing to get out.
Definitely.
Um,
Definitely.
you
And
know,
so when you pull a big name into your offense, like Eric, the Redskins are currently in that running for that quarterback carousel.
of course.
Excuse me, that's going around the league. And I've seen multiple media outlets taking multiple quarterbacks, free agent quarterbacks, to go to the Jets.
I
Like
know.
multiple. And it's like that's not gonna happen. There's no way that the Jets shed out first round picks or a giant amount of salary cap to then sign another backup that's also going to cost them a ton of. There's no way that
No
happens.
way.
So, in my opinion, now that you've drawn Eric there, do you think that your guys' potential to try to pull in one of those quarterbacks, those big name quarterbacks like Aaron or Derek, do you think that that got better? And do you think, like, if so, do you trust him to lead that veteran quarterback? Or do you think, like in the case of Aaron Rodgers, do you think Aaron Rodgers might be a little bit too big headed to come in and listen to somebody?
Yeah, that's a good question. And it does depend on the persona on the quarterback. I would like to think that, say Aaron, or one of those guys would listen, because he has won, gone to two Super Bowls. Well, three
Sure.
and won two. So
Which
he
is
has
which
a
is
winning offense.
it's more than any quarterback on the active market has won.
Oh
So
yeah, besides the guy who coached, Patrick Mahomes. Um,
yeah,
so that has to say something. And I think it should bring in, free. I see. And my thing is, I think we have a very good looking potential, uh, free, market, to bring in a quarterback, because I just don't think people overlook it, because we have a very good receiving core, very young, or relatively young.
definitely.
But we have Terry McLaurin, who's like 24, 25, or almost 26. Um, Curtis Samuel, who's like 26, 27. Jahan
Right.
Doxson, who's a stud coming out, who's going to be in his second year. Um, got a pretty good offensive line. Our
I think
defense
your running
is,
back is stellar.
oh
You
yeah,
know,
we got two
I
good
think
running backs.
you've got a lot of guys on a rookie deal and you've got a lot of
Oh
guys
yeah.
for cheap. And I think this is exactly the point where you pounce. This is where
Oh,
the
for sure.
Redskins need to be trading away some
Proactive.
capital, not as much as they traded away for RG3. They messed up there.
Yes.
But they need to be trading away some capital and then digging into the pockets of Dan Schneider while he still owns them. And this is where they need to make their splash. They need to make a couple of big signings. There's a lot of big free agents out there this year. I think you guys are a couple pieces away. Your guys' division went,
Oh,
in recent years has been extremely difficult.
yes.
Before that, not so much, but now
Yeah.
the Cowboys are decent, still would put them in the okay category. The
Yeah.
Eagles are flying high, and all of a sudden Daniel Jones looks like an NFL quarterback. So, there's a lot of drama there too. What happens with Danny Dimes, what happens with Saquon.
Saquon, that's the
Um,
thing.
right. Like so there's a lot of potential for the Redskins to really take their shot here and pull ahead. And I do think that Ron is a good coach to help lead you guys into that. He did lead the Panthers to a Super Bowl.
He
Um,
did.
and I mean, the Panthers have been decimated since then.
Oh,
So this is your guys' chance, and hopefully you'll make
kind
the
of
most
is.
of it.
Thanks. Yeah, I hope so too. I agree with what you said. Like, we have the team, we have the core. And I think in the mock drafts, we're looking to get a cornerback, Porter Jr. Which I heard this draft is pretty good for cornerbacks, which would be much needed between Kendall Fuller and, a few other guys. We have some good safeties, and hopefully we get a good quarterback. I think I mean, no, the Eagles are the only contender, I think, just because I think the Cowboys, they may put up points, they may do whatever, but I don't think they get far. And if
I,
we could become better, they're done.
I agree with that. And they were talking on the radio, do the Cowboys tag Tony Pollard? And to me,
Yeah.
I think that's like a no question. Like I
Yeah,
think
I
if you're
have
the
to.
Cowboys, I think you kind of read the trade market for Zeke. Like if there's a team out there
Oh,
that
for
wants
sure.
Zeke, give it to him. Like
Give it.
I think Zeke is over that hump, and I think Tony Pollard's the man of that team. I will say what's a little nerve-wracking and good for Eagles fans, good for Amanda's dad. Um, the Eagles aren't going to lose anybody. I don't know of any big free agent names for the Eagles off
The
of the top of
only
my head.
the only person I think we've Miles Sanders.
And even him, that
They don't really
backfield
need him.
rotates,
Yeah,
so
they don't need him.
they have Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell.
Plus, they
I
still have a
and
first round pick from the Saints,
that's true. That's true. So
like
the
relatively
Eagles are
high.
Yeah, the Eagles are going to remain competitive. They did lose their coordinators, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. And
Um,
defensive coordinator.
yeah, they lost both, so um, but I think we're looking forward to a good NFL season.
I think
I
so
don't know if
too.
we'll touch base on it in the next episode, like depending on the timing, but maybe by our next episode we'll know if Lamar Jackson is a long-term Raven or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, hopefully get some news on
God
that.
hoping he is. I still don't know where I stand. I think I'm in the keep Lamar Jackson camp just because I'm unsure of what the Ravens would look like without him. So I
Now,
don't.
now let me ask you, I saw a thing that the Raiders, like it was a potential trade.
Right.
What if the Raiders gave you their two first rounders, which was a seventh, or it was something like within the top 15 and a
Sure.
28, and then two first rounders for next year.
I'm open to getting picks for Lamar. I really am, just because I feel like getting a good quarterback on a rookie deal, yada yada yada. Problem is I don't know too much about this draft class. I
Very
will
true.
say, from what I've seen from Bryce Young, he's not it. He's too
Okay.
short, in my opinion. I don't think he fits the style of offense that we play. So you know, I don't know where Lenny Ship is in this draft, but for those of you
He's
who don't
next
know, Lenny
year's.
Ship is, yeah, next year in Madden, I just drafted Lenny Ship and he has been great. But we'll see where it goes. I'm open to trading him if we get that much in return for
Yeah,
sure. I don't know how you turn that down.
I don't either.
Especially, it's either you get 4 first round picks or you're paying the man, 50 million, 45 million a year. So that's a lot. I would also like to see, if we got those 4 first round picks, what do we do with the money we just saved? Do we go out? Do we sign DeAndre? Do we, like things like that? Like what kind of splashes would we be able to make? But it's all for naught if we don't do anything there. But I will say this has been a good little chat. We touched on a lot of stuff, a little high school
Yeah,
nostalgia. We got some sports, got some PlayStation State of Play. Don't forget about that home buyer seminar coming up. Obviously, a great thing to remember. What do you got
gotta
for him,
learn how to
Josh?
buy a
What do
house.
you? Yeah, that's true.
Um, I want to say that besides YouTube, we're on Spotify. The link is in the YouTube header. Click it if you like to listen in the car, and just want more of us. It's all audio. So, working out in the car, doing some yard work. Uh, Listen, give us a little listen to.
Definitely. If you've got friends you think that would like it, pass it along. Obviously, we
Yeah.
appreciate any shares. Um, but keep tuning in. Obviously, I think we're fun to listen to, and agree, disagree. You'll find out future episodes.
Yeah, signing out from me and Zach. Keep it scrappy, Ragtag crew. Peace out.
Peace.